On May 19th, I went to the doctor, and on their scale, I weighed in at 546.0. And I'm telling you, my jaw was on the floor.
I will say this right off the bat, and I think this will describe everything. This is definitely not for everyone, in that it's going to, it's an acquired taste. I think some people will love it.
Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are going to be talking about co-host Amberlynn Reid. There have been a couple of updates since the last time we talked about her, so we are going to be talking about these two videos, but really, actually, the most recent video that was uploaded like an hour ago as of me recording this. But just so you guys know, there was a video uploaded that was titled "Getting Hit On by My DoorDasher." Someone sent me flowers and I almost went to a mental hospital, I think is what that says. There's really not much that's of interest to the things that I want to talk about, but the video that she just uploaded I think is definitely worth talking about. And that is this one right here, which is called "Stepping on the Scale, Pasta Recipe, and My New Goal Weight." So in this video, she finally does step on a scale, which is something that she hasn't done in a while. Basically after she had a really bad experience at the doctor's office where she ended up finding out what her actual weight was, and then she realized that the scale that she had been using for the past however long, maybe few months, few weeks, was not working correctly. She ended up trying to see if there was something wrong with the scale, and she found out that there was something wrong with the scale, and then she ended up getting a new scale, but then there was like no weigh-ins for a while. And in this video, I think it's actually a really, there's some things that I agree with what she's doing, some things that I disagree with what she's doing. So I just feel like it's a really perfect video to kind of really talk about. So we will be going over the entire video, which is not something that I do super often, but let's get into this new video.
So I'm just showing you guys what I ate today, and literally,
so if her voice does sound a little bit weird, it's because she's getting over a little bit of a sickness, I think.
I don't eat breakfast. I'm sure you guys have noticed that. I eventually do want to get in the habit of doing so. I've been awake for about 4.5 hours, and I'm finally about to eat my first meal.
So just on that, I don't think there is anything inherently wrong with not eating breakfast. I think it's something that a lot of people do. It's something that I kind of do. It really depends on the day, but most days, like, I will wake up, have coffee, and then I will go to the gym or do whatever fitness that I'm going to do for the day, whether that's going on a run or whatever, right? And then I will eat breakfast. So a lot of times it will be about 4-ish hours before I end up eating breakfast. I think a lot of times people get very caught in you have to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you have to eat snacks in between. That's not necessarily, super duper important. So just that's one of those things that I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I know that there will be people that are like, oh, you should be doing XYZ thing. I don't have a problem with that at all.
I got a poke bowl. So I was on soft foods for a...
With that being said, the poke bowl is definitely an interesting first meal. I don't know, maybe she said what time it was, but again, obviously, like, I am always going to, encourage people that are, especially if weight loss, and this is important to me, right? If weight loss is your most important thing that you are trying to do, it is the thing that you are most focused on, and it's what you care about the most. I always tell people, like, you should be ordering out as little as possible, or really not at all, especially if you are getting it delivered to your house, right? It is just, you are taking away all of the things that are required to have this food, and you are just having it delivered. Is it the worst thing in the world, and can you lose weight while still doing it? Yes. But if you are someone that has really been struggling, like I know Amberlynn has, with losing weight, I think that is one of the easiest, because Amberlynn Reid works from home, right? This is her job, what she's doing currently, which no shade, because same, right? But there is absolutely zero reason you need to be ordering food. Zero reason, right? Especially if the goal is, I want to lose weight. That is the most important thing to me. You could make this from home, and it would almost certainly have way less calories, and it would be much cheaper, right? I know I sound like a broken record. I know I said that a million times, and I know that Amberlynn is probably not going to listen. But if you are in the same position, my advice to you, the advice is almost never going to be, oh, just order it and get it delivered to yourself, and then you don't have to cook it all, right? Like, that's never going to be advice I give to someone.
A while in the last few days, I have been able... Oh, whoops, just dropped a packet of soy sauce. Hold on. So I was on soft foods for a good 14 days. In the last few days, I've been able to
So again, if you don't know, soft foods because she had a tooth taken out. So that's why she was doing that.
To introduce all the textures. So I'm excited for this poke bowl. So we have rice, crab, corn, sesame seeds, jalapenos, onion, ginger, wasabi peas, which is like my favorite part. So this is my first meal for today. And by the way, any liquid consumption I have today will just be water. I haven't had soda in probably like 3 weeks now, almost a month. So I'm just gonna be drinking water.
I mean, I'm glad that she's drinking more water. Clearly, you know, that was the thing that we talked about. I personally am not a diet soda hater. I know people are going to get upset with me, but I am a fan.
Water all day long. So just want to make that clear. All right, so I'm just showing you guys how much that I have left. I am full and satisfied. So
I am a fan of poke bowls. They're pretty good. They're you see them pretty often in San Diego, which is where I'm from, right? The only thing, obviously, like, yes, this is a much better option than most other places that you can order and get delivered. And so I'm glad that this was obviously the decision. Obviously, it could have been worse. But again, there's just, like, cooking from home is always going to be the better option, in my opinion.
I'm done eating it. When I was telling you guys what was in it, I forgot to say there's also edamame and avocado. This is honestly one of my favorite meals to have. And it's super filling. And it's not too bad for you. All right, you guys, it is time for the next meal. I'm going to be making a pasta, and I want to show you guys the ingredients. So call me weird, that's okay, but this is the pasta that I always make. I absolutely love it. So this is the pasta shape I am using. I will use...
So the first thing that I want to say when it comes to pasta, because I feel like pasta definitely gets a bad rep. Pasta in and of itself is not a terrible option. I think the reason that pasta ends up having this bad rep when it comes to weight loss and you know, people trying to improve their fitness or whatever, is that it is incredibly easy to overeat this type of food. And a lot of times it's I don't think personally it's the pasta that is the issue. It's what the pasta is prepared with, how it's cooked, the oil, all of that stuff, right? And then a lot of times pasta will be paired with other things as well, right? So I think pasta is one of the things that gets a bad rap. Same thing, and people might hate me for this, but that's how I feel about like a bread, right? If you make a sandwich, that's not terrible, but a lot of times bread ends up being like, oh, bread is just bad. But a lot of times it's because people overeat the amount of bread that they're using, all of that stuff, right? So I'm not someone that's like, I see pasta and I'm not like, oh my God, that's terrible. Certainly not how I feel at all, actually.
Any pasta shape for this recipe, as long as it is small. I'm gonna be having some garlic salts, canned chicken. This is the only brand that I will eat. I grew up eating canned chicken, so that's why like I'm okay with it.
No shade. No shade at all. I used to eat canned chicken all the time when I was losing weight. And honestly, like, with how hot it is here right now, I'm honestly not against going back to it to make some, basically like, you know how you make tuna sandwiches back in the day? I would basically use this instead of tuna because I'm not a huge fish guy. Weirdly enough, poke is one that I can eat because the fish isn't cooked. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But I don't have a problem with canned chicken. I'm not one of those purists at all. And so, like, I'm glad. This is good. I'm a fan. No problem at all.
And when I cook it in the pasta and such, it like cooks it more, so I'm not like so creeped out by it.
I don't really know what that means because it's already fully cooked, but you know, whatever.
Some butter, some fresh Parmesan, Tapatio for some spice, and
love Tapatio.
Some mayo. So I will show you guys when it's all complete. All right, you guys, so here it is. It's honestly so freaking good.
So honestly, right, like, regardless of how you feel about that, I don't know. I'm sure it tastes fine, right? People are probably like, that looks disgusting. I'm sure it tastes fine, right? She wouldn't eat the whole thing if it was disgustingly nasty. I know maybe people would be like, oh, she would eat anything. I don't necessarily think that that's the case, but the issue is that obviously that's a very large amount of pasta, and the problem would be if you ended up eating the whole thing, you know, foreshadowing here, but.
Good. I have no words for it. Super easy to make, comforting, extremely flavorful. I love this meal. All right, you guys, it is time for a snack. And I know exactly what I want. You think I'd be sick of these by now? Because during my soft food... You think I would be sick of these by now? Because during my soft food era, this is what I was eating. I was having puddings. But I'm telling you, chocolate vanilla puddings, I think I'm gonna have 2 actually. And there's 2 left in this pack. Chocolate vanilla puddings are the way to go.
Again, I am a fan of this. I think it's one of those things that people might see this like, oh my God, pudding. How could you do that? But I think as far as the fact that these are individually, sealed, wrapped, probably not wrapped isn't the right word, right? But these are individual in their individual containers. Something that a lot of times when I'm talking to clients and stuff like that, if they want to have snacks, I always recommend that because it's this mental trick that can help you not overeat, right? I know she says that she's going to have 2, which maybe isn't the best thing, but I think they're like 100 calories each. So in the grand scheme of things, really not that terrible, right? But it helps you be like, okay, I don't need to have more. I was actually with Amanda. We were on a walk yesterday and we went and got ice cream at a local place, which is not something that I do often, but we got ice cream cones and we were talking about this because if you guys don't know Amanda, she's lost, 130 pounds herself. So we talk about this stuff a lot, right? It's something that's interesting to both of us, but we were talking about when we were eating the ice cream cones and how I think that the cone is in and of itself like a similar kind of self-limiting thing, right? Because you can obviously only fit so much, especially because we just get the regular cones. We don't get like the huge sugar cones, which can add a lot of calories, right? But we just get the regular waffle, I think it's a waffle cone or whatever. Just a regular basic cone that you can buy at the store, right? And then you just put ice cream on top. That's what we got. And it limits the amount that you're going to have. And then on top of that, it limits, like, I'm not going to have 2 ice cream cones like that. I'm going to have 1 and be like, okay, that's cool. I'm happy that I had that. I don't need it anymore, right? And so it's kind of like a self-limiting thing, and I feel like that's what these like snack pack yogurts can do, also little snack packs of other things. It doesn't work for everyone. Obviously, I'm not saying that this is the thing that's going to solve everyone's problems, right? But it can be helpful, right? And so this is something that I recommend to people if they are struggling with wanting to have snacks, but they don't want to over snack, and it's so easy for them to eat a whole bag of chips or a whole, whatever it might be, whatever the thing might be.
So it's just these little packs like this. So I'm gonna have 2 of them. They're 100 calories each. I think that's gonna be it for the night. I've had over 40 ounces of water. I'm having a hard time getting past the 40 ounces. Sometimes I reach 60 ounces, but like my ultimate goal is like 80. And that is genuinely all I drink all day. I haven't had soda in a while and I'm very proud of that. But like, for some reason, I cannot get to the 80 mark, but I'm gonna keep trying. All right, you guys, the light above me has like completely gone out. So we're just working with the light that I am receiving from the kitchen. But you know what? It's giving cozy vibes. It does not need to be bright in here by no means. You just need to hear the words coming out of my mouth. So at the end of my weigh-in and what I ate today videos, what I would like to do is talk about a food-related decision that I'm proud of that I made today, a food-related decision that I'm not proud of, to wrap up the whole what I ate today segment because I am done eating for the day. And then when I get into my weigh-in segment, which is going to be at the end of the videos, I do want to answer 3 weight-related questions, talk about my weight a little bit, how the week went, and then show you guys the weigh-in. So that's just what to expect from this point forward. So a food-related decision that I am proud of today is that I cooked. It's super easy for me to open my DoorDash, order all my meals in.
Okay, well, I mean, you cooked really like 1 meal. You know what I mean? Like there was more opportunities to cook, and I feel like, I mean, I'm glad that you're proud of it, but I don't know,
But I have been trying to cook more. A decision today that I'm not proud of is I ate too much pasta. I ended up eating the whole pot of pasta that I made. I don't add many extra calories to the pasta. Like the chicken's super low calorie. I only add like 1 serving of mayonnaise, about 1.5 servings of the Parmesan cheese. So yeah, and like a little bit of butter. So it's just like mainly the pasta calories, but it is pretty calorie heavy
yeah, I mean, that was a lot of pasta
for that meal. But still eating that and everything else that I ate today, I'm still in a calorie deficiency. So now let's get...
So the term is calorie deficiency. I mean, maybe they're kind of interchangeable, but calorie deficit.
Into the 3 weight-related, food-related, health-related, etc., questions. So these are questions that I actually had saved from when I was doing weekly weigh-in videos before. These questions come strictly from Instagram. What is your weight loss goal this year? 499.8. I just want to see a 4 at the beginning of the scale. I don't want...
it's just so like 0.8 is so funny to me. Not 499.9, but 499.8 to make it real. You know, 0.9 doesn't really count. That just makes me laugh. But I think that's a relatively, understandable goal, because I think, like, from her heaviest that she was before, that would be about 50-ish pounds that she would lose. And so, that's relatively doable. Obviously, I hope that she's able to do that, and I hope she's able to do even more than that, right? And so, nothing really wrong with that.
I want to, like, have this huge, spectacular goal, even though I feel like that is kind of a big goal, but I feel like I can't.
It's not a big goal. That is doable and sustainable, and, like, you need to the narrative you need to play in your head is that is something that is absolutely doable, and you just have to continue doing the right stuff. You can't think like, oh, maybe that's too hard. No. Okay? Being in the 499.8 is absolutely possible by December 31st, okay? Like, that is 100% possible, and you have to just push through for that, and you have to continue working hard towards that, right?
Do it. Like, we're only at the end of June. We still have quite a few months this year, so I feel like I can do it. Why didn't you just get the same scale that you had before? As you guys know, my scale broke, and it was weighing me the wrong weight the whole time. I didn't realize that until I went to the doctor. So then when I went to go buy a new scale, that one didn't pop up on my Amazon. So I just got one that was very similar to it. These are two scales that I've had before, and they're usually very reliable. With the new scale, I did have to, like, obviously switch the batteries, because it did come with batteries, but the batteries were kind of wonk. And it was weighing me in, like, the 400s, and I'm like, girl, that's not accurate. But then when I use the batteries that I actually have in my home, I have so many batteries, and I'm like, how did I get all these batteries? I don't understand. But once I put the new batteries, the scale has been working, and I've been weighing myself daily just to, like, see if I'm doing good, and I actually am. What are you doing to lose weight right now? So I genuinely am not following any plan or anything like that. I am just trying to eat less than I would on a day where I am completely off track, because then that'll automatically put me in a calorie deficiency. All right.
So that's not necessarily true, right? Like, again, it's calorie deficit, but maybe I'm being pedantic there. But I think that I don't know, it's hard, because obviously I am very much for trying to, find sustainable ways to lose weight that are healthy and doable for you, right? But there's also this level of it's going to feel a little hard, like, it's going to feel a little difficult. And it feels like Amberlynn is trying to find a way to lose weight that is, there's zero, like, pushback. There's zero friction. And that's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. And I think, like, if your idea is, I am good if I just don't completely fall off the rails and eat whatever I want, that's not, I don't think you're going to see the progress in a way that is going to be exciting and make you want to continue to do the stuff, right? I think that's one of the things that is so cool about weight loss when you are significantly overweight, 400, 500 pounds like Amberlynn is, right? Like, you can make relatively simple changes that are still going to feel kind of difficult, but you can see that weight come off so fast compared to someone that's, trying to lose 20, 30 pounds, right? Or someone that's trying to gain weight to, put on muscle, right? That takes a long time, takes years, right? But losing a significant amount of weight can be done relatively quickly. I'm not saying you have to do it in a week, right? But, like, you can see significant progress in 3 months of losing weight if you are 500 pounds, much more than someone that's trying to lose 20 pounds, and then much more than someone that's trying to gain 15 pounds of muscle. That might take years, right? And so it's that's one of the benefits. Again, I put that in quotes because obviously it's not fun being 500 pounds, but it's one of the benefits of being in a very, very large body, is that you can see those changes relatively quickly if you even just do some really simple stuff. And I think that's the crux of why so many people struggle so much with Amberlynn, is because most people that have been that size know how quickly you can lose weight, and then seeing her just gain and lose the same 10, 15 pounds, it's like, okay, I don't think that Amberlynn is actually trying as hard as she says that she's trying, right? I think that's a lot of times what people's issue is.
All right, so we're going to get to the weigh-in. On May 19th, I went to the doctor, and on their scale, I weighed in at 546.0. And I'm telling you, my jaw was on the floor. Once I got my new scale, put my batteries in it, it did co-align. So
She was 5'46", right, in May 19th. So that was about a month ago from me recording this video. So that's pretty close to her highest weight, I think. I don't. If someone can please leave in the comments what her highest weight was, or highest that she said she's been. But yeah, that's, you know, it's interesting because I genuinely do wonder if she was actually surprised by that, because, you know, she always claims that she knows so well about what works for her and what doesn't work for her, and like, it's interesting. So were you actually surprised by that, or were you not really that surprised by that, right?
So my new scale does work accurately, but I do have a doctor's appointment and I know they're probably going to weigh me. So we'll see how accurate it really is and see like the difference on their scale. But I'm almost literally 100% positive that the scale that I'm using now is accurate. So here is my weigh-in for today. Okay, so
she does end up changing how she does the weigh-ins. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it's based on the criticism that people have said that they don't really believe the weigh-ins. And I do think that this new way that she is doing it, you know, whether or not you think that she should be doing it to prove the haters wrong, you know, it's definitely goes a lot in being like, it's really hard. It would be really hard for her to fake this, right? And so I think that it's good that she's doing this, if anything, to help her at least feel like she is proving, you know, the quote-unquote haters wrong.
We're going to do a weigh-in. This feels crooked. Let me fix it. That's a little better. So this is going to be my weigh-in outfit. I'm going to weigh in every single week wearing the same thing. So I normally weigh myself naked. I mean,
sorry. Okay. I like the fact that she is going to be using the same clothes. That's good. I said that right after she said, normally I weigh myself naked. I understand that, but I think if you were going to film yourself, obviously you can't do that naked, but that's been, I think, a big reason why she hasn't filmed herself weighing herself, right? Because she's always had to do it naked. But, you know, the little bit of clothes that you are wearing, right? Especially if you, and it sounds like she's going to that, account for that, and you just wear the same thing every single time you weigh in, you don't really have to worry about the variation, right?
Because I don't want all the extra materials to add on weight, but this is what I will be wearing. And we will do a body shot each week in hopes to see improvement. So I have my scale set up here. Let me move it forward a little bit, or back. There we go. So my closet is the messiest room in the house. I have clean clothes I have to put away, so do not mind that. All right, so let's do it here. Hello.
It's ready.
So I do think these scales are cool, right? The reason that they have is because they talk, because a lot of times it's, you know, for people that are bigger, it's hard to see what the scale says when your stomach and stuff like that is kind of in the way.
It is.
£534.6 pounds.
534.6 is where we're at now.
534.6. So I'm just gonna put my scale over here. And this will be where I do my weekly weigh-in every week. So that means I'm down 11.4 since May 19th.
So it's interesting, right? Because 11.4 in basically a month, like I said, right? That sounds like someone that is, you know, if this is true, obviously I know a lot of people are always very skeptical, but like that is the amount that I would expect. And honestly, you can even expect a little bit more, especially when you're the size of Amberlynn. I know that there's a lot of other stuff going on, the lipedema, the lymphedema, all that stuff, right? But like for anyone that's watching this that is 500 pounds, if you lock in, right, and do the things that you need to be, you eat in a deficit, you move your body in a way that you can, right? Obviously, it's going to be very limited for each person. Everyone's different, right? You can expect some pretty quick changes, especially at the very beginning of losing weight, right? Especially a lot of water weight's going to come off and stuff like that. But like, it's not like that is one of the biggest benefits of being incredibly large and starting a weight loss thing, is that you see results pretty quickly. And that a lot of times that can be like the push that motivates you to continue. Like I remember that was like, for me, that's something that happened. I remember being like, I was not the person that lost 50 pounds and gained it back. And like, I was the person that lost maybe 5 pounds and would give up. Like I could not stick to anything. Okay. And I mean that I could not stick to anything. And I was the person that said, oh, I've tried every diet. I have a broken metabolism. I don't have a metabolism. These are jokes that like you can ask my friends. I used to say all the time, right? The reality was I was eating much more than I realized. I was moving much less than I realized, especially once I graduated high school and the weight started coming on, right? And so, but once I actually started to learn what calories were and realize that I just needed to be in a deficit to see weight loss happen, I started seeing results so quickly. And like, I lost like 20 pounds. And I remember being like, this is the most weight I've ever lost. And like, I can do this. Obviously, I get it. It's hard. It's difficult. Losing weight is a very difficult thing. But it's one of the biggest benefits of being extremely large is that the weight loss does happen relatively quickly at the very beginning.
And I can definitely testify that that does feel real because my face isn't as puffy, my breathing is better, my stamina is a little bit better. There are ways, non-scale victory ways and physical ways, where I am able to tell that I'm losing weight besides just stepping on the scale. So yeah, I'm gonna try every single week to wear the same exact outfit, put the scale in the same exact spot, and I'm gonna stand on the scale for you guys and do a little twirl and see if we can notice a difference.
I honestly don't. I think that's a good plan.
I know a lot of people are like, Amberlynn, just step on that scale. It's just, I don't know, my brain wants to weigh in naked.
I understand that, but like, even if you wanted to take away half a pound for the closure, you know what I mean? Like I think that's fine if that's what you have to do mentally to be like, okay, now I feel better about it. Like, you know, I don't think that it's something you should be super worried about though.
I know that's like an unhealthy way of thinking because it's like, who cares? Okay, your clothes weigh a couple pounds. Oh, well, I don't know. I just get really hyper fixated on the number. But anyways, I hope that you guys did enjoy this video and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
So that's what we have so far. That's kind of the final or the update finally on the weight that Amberlynn is sitting at. Like I said, there was some stuff that I agree with, some stuff that I disagreed with. I think all in all, for a video that I've watched at Amberlynn, this is one that I'm, you know, there's more stuff in here that I'm like, okay, I'm glad to see this, and I hope that this continues. We shall see. I think the biggest thing that Amberlynn 100% needs to work on is not using DoorDash. Just, again, I've said this before, go 2 weeks. Say, I am not going to use DoorDash for 2 weeks, just to see if you can do it. And I promise you can, right? It might mean that you have to take some more time eating, you know, making meals at home, but it'll give you time to find some meals that you enjoy making. And then once you start making them, you can make them quick, right? Like the meals that I make take no time at all because I've made them hundreds of times, right? I think that would be one of the most helpful things for Amberlynn to do. I don't know if she would do that, but if you're in a similar position, that would be my advice to you, because I don't want people to feel like they can never have DoorDash. I think that there's a time and a place when that makes sense. It absolutely can help. I don't use it frequently, but you know, every few months I might use DoorDash, but not to become reliant on it. I think that that's really important. But that's how I feel. I would love to know what y'all think down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.